And we are live. What is going on, everybody? Welcome to my channel. My name's Sean, and you are joining us here for episode number 4 of the Tarsis Tavern, your weekly Anthem community talk show and podcast, a melting pot program where everybody can come together and discuss their week in the world of Anthem. And trust me, we have a lot to talk about this week. A lot of highs and unfortunately still a lot of lows, and we are going to get into some of those lows, and we are going to discuss what could potentially be done about some of those lows, because I think we're getting to a point here where some things need to change. Real quick, and hopefully it's gonna save this game a bit. This game is fantastic, but it admittedly still has some things going on, and we are gonna get into that tonight. So let me get into the Discord here and welcome my co-host, Mr. Kyrian. What is going on tonight, buddy?
Hello,
Mr. Kyrian. Well,
we made it. Another week.
Yes, another week. I don't know how many more dollars we have, but, you know, another week in the world of Anthem. So we're going to change the format just a touch here. As you can see on the main screen on the bottom left there, I have the main topics that we're going to talk about this evening up there. And we're going to run it as just a general intro here. We'll talk about our week, and then we'll get into each of our topics per usual. But instead of just going like individual, I'm going to have them all in the bottom left, and then we'll just scroll through them again. Comments in the chat related to the discussions that we're talking about, if we could. And then at the end of the program, we'll get into some gameplay and then the open Q&A. So about 2 hours of the talk show program, then we switch into the open Q&A, and we'll jam some games if anybody wants to join us. All right, so my week in Anthem has been pretty good. Masterworks are dropping like candy. I actually got through the main story, got all the way to level 30, and yesterday I had one of my best play sessions with 6 Masterworks total.
What?
I know.
Like the stronghold, or
just the strongholds. Yeah, we did the strongholds. 6 Masterworks, which really helped my build. My ranger is 450 gear score now, which is real nice. So we're getting up there. Everything except for the 1 support slot, obviously, because there's no support Masterworks in the game yet. So my support slot is still with a bulwark on the ranger, which needs some fixing, but we'll get into all of our gripes and stuff here in our what we would like to see changed discussion. I think in the patch changes. So Kyrian, what how was your week?
Before we go any further, seeing as this is the Tarsis Tavern, I think we should discuss first of all what we're drinking. What are you drinking?
I am drinking a fantastic beer made by the Bob Cajun Brewing Company called Common Loon. It is an American pale ale. Fantastic beer.
I was really hoping that you'd be on water again and I could make fun of you.
I have water here too because my throat gets dry. My throat gets dry too as well. So I do have my Transformers mug of water as well too for the program too.
Okay, perfect. Mm-hmm. So I'm just
and yourself.
Rum and Cokes.
Mr. Kyrian is a huge rum aficionado, so he's on rums. Yes.
Anywho.
Yeah. Again, yeah. My week in Anthem was fantastic, but there are some things that we need to see changed, and we're gonna work through that throughout the program here tonight. So, Kyrian, how was your week?
So mine was pretty good too.
Good.
Also hit 30. Finished the story. I still got a lot of side quest stuff I think going on.
Nice.
But overall, yeah. Once you start seeing those shiny orange colored drops, man, I'll tell you, it's pretty exciting.
Ooh, baby, it is. Do we have anything?
Still a few bugs, definitely still a few bugs and stuff that we're working through, but I'm not at a point yet where I'm tired of content and all that jazz. So yeah, I'm still pretty stoked with the game.
So am I, you know. And again, we're gonna go through some of the things that changed this week, but overall I think this game has a lot of potential. I think that they can get some of these problems under control, that this game has a long lifespan as a live service game. Do I think it's going to be like top of the pack? I don't know. Does it really matter? I don't think it does, because if we're all having fun with it, which I know we are, we have a great community of people who have been really enjoying it. I don't think it really matters.
I think it has a chance though for being top of the pack, honestly.
Yeah.
I mean, Destiny 2 has been doing very well for a long time. Warframe has done very well for a long time. Have big player bases, still bringing quite a bit of money through microtransactions and all that jazz. And honestly, if they launch this, well, I mean, because it's just launched, right?
Yeah.
If they get like the first couple months and get the content going like they're saying, there's absolutely no problems with saying it's going to be like those other two games, if not better, because you get to fly. I mean, you do. I mean, it's one of the best parts. The movement and the flight and everything like that is fantastic. But here's the problem, though, is that when I'm trying to do one of these free play events, and the Titan is rubber banding and flying all over the map, that puts a roadblock into the experience for me. So we need to get over the hump. It does, but
we need to get over the hump of these things to be able to fully enjoy the experience.
Yeah, it's also first week. Again,
sure.
Every single game that ever releases, and it seems like especially AAA titles, they take like a month to just get the kinks
to get going. Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, and we have the Division 2 as well, and it's going to be very interesting to see how smooth or not smooth that release goes as well. And then we can kind of look back and say, well, hey, Anthem had these same problems as well. So it's going to be interesting if people are going to be like if the Division 2 release has the same amount of problems that Anthem did, how people are going to be critical of that game over this one. Like, are we going to see these from day one haters on Anthem be the same way towards the Division 2? I think it's gonna be interesting.
You're gonna get that from every game, because there's always haters for everything. There's people that's all they do with their life is be salty.
Yeah, I agree.
So I mean, you can't get away from it.
No,
but the problem for me is the Division 2 going to cause a division of player base?
Absolutely, it will. I think it will. Yes, I think it will. Mm-hmm. I know people who are playing Anthem. They're like, yeah, I'm gonna play Division 2.
Like as soon as it comes out, and just
as soon as it comes out,
that kind of sucks. I don't want to see that.
Absolutely. Is it being a hater and salty, or is it also a case of just wanted a AAA title to launch like they should, Mr. Jodat in the chat?
No, it's definitely being a hater, because there's people that are on the internet that just want to
like
piss and moan about things.
Like that skill up guy I've talked about the last 2 episodes. That guy has been nothing but hate, but we know why. We know why he wanted Mass Effect 3. There was definitely a group of people
we can argue about this now, though, because I've watched another video where he came back and he's like, "Man, everybody's hating on me for this. Here's what I actually think."
Yeah, I haven't seen anything because I don't pay attention to what he says anymore. I don't know.
Well, you got me interested in watching him to see how bad it actually is, and quite frankly, he was very candid and honest about what he wanted to see, and he plays a lot of Warframe and Destiny, so I don't think he just wanted Mass Effect. I think he's just complaining because it's a new game and the new things and blah blah blah, and that's what everybody does. It's like, oh, there's problems. Well, yeah, there's problems. There's always new problems in a new game.
Yep, absolutely.
We get past that. That's what the whole longevity thing is all about, you know?
That's
true.
true.
Months in, you're not going to remember any of this stuff.
Yep, that's true. And hopefully, let's get into our first topic of the evening here. Patches. Hopefully, obviously, patches are the way that we feel that will help this out. So we've had the day 1 patch, we've had a second patch, and today, this article here yesterday, detailing the 1.03 patch update. So this is the 3rd patch, which fixed the final boss and the return of to the Heart of Rage stronghold, and combat missions will now properly appear if a squad of freelancers wipe before reaching it. That was a problem. Some HDR fixes on console, and fixed a number of issues that were causing players to crash. Now, this game still crashes. I had crashes today. when playing.
Hmm.
So we are not over the hump of crashes with this game. Yeah, we were in a group. I was in a group with Canuck, Jodat, and Scotty Mac, and it took me right into the login screen. I had to come back into the game. It asked me if I wanted to rejoin the group, and it took me into the loading screen, the launch screen.
Weird.
It didn't put me back in the group. It put me back in the launch screen, and they're like, "Yeah, it says you're in the group, but you know."
Okay, why don't we touch some positive first? Let's get hyped up with
Okay,
positivity.
sure. All right.
So a lot of crashes have been fixed, right? How about the camera issue? Remember when you were looking through the guy's face?
Yes.
In that one quest, that's done.
Yeah.
So that's fantastic.
Yeah. I mean, listen, we're ticking off the good ones, but there are still some ones that
I know,
are
we'll get to those.
not great.
What about the loot? Now the loot, or if you're dying when the boss dies.
Yep.
If you're dead when the boss dies, now you actually get loot. So that's dope.
Yeah, that's true.
The final bosses actually drop loot instead of it just going into your inventory.
Yes. Now it is a flash. It is like a boom, and then like you see it and then it's gone. But you acknowledge and can see that there is loot dropped from the boss.
I would like to see that go one step further and just drop a chest. Just put a chest
I
up there.
I think a chest. Yeah, a chest would solve all your problems. It would incentivize people to stay for the entire thing.
It's just, I don't know. It's more exciting to open the chest and see the stuff pop out than just have like the big fat spider just die and then there's a couple things there, right?
Yeah. Yeah. And one thing as well too that we got that is positive. We got a new roadmap. So BioWare has provided additional information on what you can expect going forward in Anthem. The roadmap of post-release content for Anthem has been updated with extra details on Act 1 Echoes of Reality. While more details will be provided at a later date, BioWare wanted to share its plans for the next 90 days. For the remainder of February, we get 3...
Because the rest of the player base is like, QQ, we have nothing to do.
Right. So they did. So we now have 3 free-play missions. Outlaw Outrage, which I have not done. There Be Giants, which is what we worked on today. And that was the rubber banding issues with the Giants. And Shaper Surge, which I don't even know what that one is, but Outlaw Outrage and There Be Giants are the ones that I definitely know about. And then moving into March, when Act 1 Echoes of Reality kicks off, content updates for the season will occur through May. So we're breaking down March here, which we know new cosmetics, the Elysian Stronghold caches, new items, legendary missions, and the 3 free play events. Now April is really where I think we get to see a lot more happen. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 free play events in April. New rewards, expanded progression, the mastery system, which I think is going to be, definitely more high-end content. New missions, legendary missions, weekly stronghold challenge, leaderboards, and one that I am super excited for and that we have all talked about in our community, which is guilds. I think guilds are going to be a fantastic addition to the social aspect of the game.
Yeah, it's basically a mainstay in any game now. Like you kind of have to have a guild.
Exactly. Yep. And then May we have the Cataclysm, which I think in May we're going to see. We got a little taste of it in the demos, but I think we are going to see a major Shaper Storm event. Like the one that we saw in the demo, times 10. It's going to be freaking huge. So I'm super excited about that.
Woo-hoo.
Yeah. Mr. Ryan has a question in the chat. Go ahead, Kieran.
Okay, I was just gonna say I had one or two other things I just wanted to bring up from the last patches. Kind of that are big things that seem kind of small maybe, and you just skip over it. But picking ammo up on the ground, now gives you 30% of that ammo back into both your magazine that you're running and your spare ammo.
Fantastic. That's good.
So
because ammo is.
But it's been huge for me when I'm running Colossus, and I've got a big tank of, I get like 200 ammo that I'm currently running through, and then
Yeah.
all of a sudden I get like 75 ammo back in my gun. So that's a huge one that, like I said, seems small. And we were talking about earlier today in the chat, we were talking about detonator and primer.
Yes.
And
Yep.
people figuring out combos.
Yep.
Well, both Colossus and Interceptor didn't have an icon on their abilities that showed whether it was a detonator or primer.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Now they've fixed that. And then obviously the biggest one that we didn't even talk about yet was the Colossus shield, able to revive people while we have it up.
Absolutely, that's huge. Yes. And I think that's a major reason why a Colossus in high level stronghold content is going to be so important. Like we were running strongholds without a Colossus, and I have to tell you, it's difficult at times. There's some points where you want a damage sponge.
Yep.
In some of these strongholds.
I think this week alone I have solo kind of solo made the entire raid happen because all 3 other guys are dead.
Yep.
And just I'm on my own, managed to get people up because I have my shield. Like it's
Absolutely.
made such a big difference for survivability of the raid.
Yep.
So
yep.
huge deal there.
No, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I agree. And I was discussing in the Discord today. There's been a lot of chatter that too many people are playing Storms. There's just too many people playing Storms, and you get
few big numbers. That's
exactly.
So
yeah, OMG damage, right? But this makes an uneven, balance of what's out there for the high level content. So if you get a group that has 2 Storms, a Ranger, and an Interceptor, I really feel like you're going to struggle in this high level content with the with the strongholds. You need that damage sponge Colossus, and I just don't know if there's enough people playing it, because people come into this game and they see the Storm, and it's again it's OMG damage, not realizing. And again, a lot of them too, and a lot of people kind of shot me down with this, but a lot of those Storms are sitting back behind cover and they're sniping.
Yeah,
they're sniping. Well, like the main aspect of the Storm.
No problem with them sniping. It's the class that makes the most sense to be sniping, because they are going to always be at range.
But if that's the only thing they're doing, like if you have a Storm that's only sitting back and sniping, and not priming,
I'm sure they're using abilities on cooldown.
No. This is the issue. Is that people are saying that some people are getting the legendary Devastator, and they're just sitting back and thinking they're god tier with this sniper rifle, and they're just sitting behind cover and just sniping.
Yeah, see, I think that's just a player thing. Right, like if we were in a group and we had that, I'd be hitting the T button and being like, "Yo, buddy, why don't you try shooting, this thing, or why don't you try, doing something effective for the team?" I mean, people are gonna get called out for that kind of thing.
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
When you start playing, like when we play with Jodad, is he doing that?
No, because he understands the aspect of the game, right? Yeah. He understands the primer detonator, that kind of stuff. So, yeah, I definitely think it's. I'd like to see Storms not have snipers personally. That's just me, but I don't know. That's never gonna happen.
Do that, then you might as well just take them out of the game. Because, like I said, that's the character. Yeah, that's the one class that makes the most sense. Because you, as a Ranger, you're both kind of in and out battle. You're in like a mid-range thing. Colossus and Interceptor are like banging really close melee range. So what's left? If anybody's using a sniper rifle, it should be the Storm. He's up there already.
Snipers on a ranged class makes sense, away. Yeah. But I mean, like you could play a Ranger at range too. I mean, I'm using the Avenged Herald, and I'm floating, and I'm taking sigils and gear that reduces my heat, so I can float in the air and shoot with the Avenged Herald.
What do you use the most? Like assault rifle?
No, the Avenged Herald right now is my number one go-to.
Okay, and what type of gun is that?
It is a heavy pistol.
Okay, so what if I said Rangers shouldn't be able to use heavy pistols?
I mean, that's fine. There's other options.
No, there's not. You know what I mean? Like
there's assault rifles.
What I'm saying is you can't just say a ranged character, a like purely ranged character,
Yeah.
like Storm, is not allowed to use a sniper. You can't do that. You can't do
I'm not.
that.
I'm
They
not
just
saying that
have
they
to
shouldn't
learn to
be. I'm
play the
not.
character.
I'm not saying they shouldn't be allowed. I just think. The way that they play should be kind of controlled a bit, because we're starting to see a type of gameplay that is not fantastic. That's all I'm saying, is that I just think it needs to be watched.
Honestly, I
And
think it just
and
needs to be characters. People just that are playing these characters are just going to need to be found out and figure out their stuff. Like when we're playing Overwatch, if I'm playing Lucio and I never put my heal on and I'm only speed because I just want to go and get kills,
that's
I'm going to get found out. People are not going to play with me, or I'm going to do poorly.
and that's kind of the relation
Same
to
deal.
another game, right? Is that exact example, right? So
Yes. And that's what I'm saying. Like you can't just say, oh well, let's just take speed away from Lucio because he's not healing. No.
yeah.
It's the same thing. You can't just take the snipers away because they're not doing their other things. The people that are playing that just need to get better and learn their character. Period.
And
they
hopefully
will.
and hopefully they do that. That's what
But
I'm
don't
saying.
need interference by the devs to make, to streamline the way somebody plays.
Yeah.
They just
Like
need
I
to get
said,
good.
all I'm saying is that there is a group of people in high level content playing the Storm a certain way with a certain weapon. I don't know. We'll have to watch it. We'll have to watch it and see, because again, I really think the best way that this game is played is with one of each javelin in the group. And I think as we move along into higher level content, and maybe when we see this mastery system and all these other type of things come in, maybe that will come to I hope that will come to the forefront more. That a mix of the group is really where it's at.
They're definitely going to want to balance so that it makes the most sense to run one of everything. For sure.
Exactly.
That should always be the goal.
Yep. Completely agree. All right. Anything else on patch notes? It changes?
No.
No.
No, I don't think so. I think I went over most of the things that I liked about it.
Nice.
But definitely making a lot of changes though. Like the fact that the change list is so long.
Yeah.
From the first patch means that they're working hard on this. So I think in a couple weeks, like I said, or a month, we'll be in a real good spot.
I think so too. Yep. Yeah. I think you're going to see a lot of these haters and people that are kind of casting this game aside to are going to come back after they see some of the changes. All right, let's move on to our next topic, which is talking about some haters. Is Anthem reviews. So the official reviews on this game, and I just have the Google page up here because it shows a lot of information. Admittedly, have not been great. IGN.com 6.5 out of 10. Metacritic, which collects all of the reviews as a whole, is sitting at 61%. We have Games Radar at 2.2 out of 5. We have headlines like the Telegraph here. Anthem review: BioWare's looter shooter is a fractured, frustrating. What else does this say? Frustrating mess that I can't stop playing. That's interesting.
Well, at least there's a little caveat there that it's actually good.
Yeah, Mr. Matty plays on YouTube. Anthem reviews are trickling in, and BioWare may be in trouble. IGN 3 out of 5. Metacritic again 3. Games Radar 2.5. The headline is empty, utterly frustrating, and genuinely makes me sad.
Most of this has got to be, I don't know. There's definitely some clickbait in here.
Yeah, the Games Radar one says pros: flying always feels incredible. The world and its javelins look amazing. Cons: repetitive missions, no real end game goal, not enough of that BioWare magic. I actually feel like, so a 2.5 I think is a little low. I think if I were initially to review this game, I out of 10, I would give it a 7.5. And that's coming from a guy, coming from a guy that's been fanboying on this game hard for like 2 or 3 months. Like I'm the one that has gotten everybody into this game. I'm the one that said, "Hey guys, you have to check this out." And I'm giving it an initial review myself of a 7.5. I agree that we are getting into a problem with repetitive missions. I agree that we are getting into some endgame goal issues. And we're actually getting into some loot issues, which we are going to talk about a little bit later. These are all going to hopefully be solved by going back to the roadmap within March and April.
I was going to say, again, you know, all the issues that they're stating, that you're stating, these are all issues that every single game that comes out has.
Right.
And early in its lifetime. And I can name countless games where they launched very poorly, and then just as time goes on, they just get stronger and stronger and stronger. Like, a couple have completely relaunched, like Final Fantasy 14. I know you didn't play that, but it was insane.
Yeah,
like it completely relaunched.
Yeah, and I think this is why I really feel very strongly that review sites like this and these mainstream entities that put up these scathing reviews, they don't mean much. But my problem always is with new player bases or people that rely on YouTube and these types of reviews as to whether they purchase a game or not. This ultimately hurts the overall. I feel, which is the part that sucks.
But
right,
it's salvageable. That's what I'm saying.
I think it is. Well, the problem is though is that are people going to stick around to the point of it being salvageable? Because that's what I mean. If you go through Anthem game hashtag on Twitter, people are like, I'm going to give this game another 2 weeks and then that'll be it. And And I know it's just people raging, but I mean, I hope that BioWare and EA can hold it together to get it to the point where, you know, they can go back and say, hey, you know what, we've fixed all these problems and we are a full sailing ship.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, this is what happens every time though. It's the same thing happens. Sure, all these people leave, but then all their friends are going to start saying, oh my god, this new patch launched, 2 months down the road. And the game's totally changed and is so much better. And holy jeez, it happened with Diablo 3 too when they launched the last expansion. All of a sudden, everybody was, "Hey, we're back in."
And actually, Reaper of Souls, somebody that was an instrumental part of bringing Diablo 3 back with Reaper of Souls, has commented on Anthem. We're going to talk about that a little bit later. Risky Shots in the chat says, "People stuck through vanilla Destiny, they can get through this."
Agreed.
And I agree too. I just hope that people will stick it out long enough, to see kind of the full ship sailing here. Because I mean, we all know, right? I mean, everybody that's watching and listening here knows that this game has such potential to be something amazing. I mean, it has such amazing movement and combat and the combo system, and I mean, even the story too. The people that were shitting on the story in their reviews, I don't know what they were talking about. I mean, I thoroughly enjoyed the story.
Yep. I mean, maybe if their reasoning is it's short, well, yeah, it's kind of short. It's like chapter 1, chapter 0 technically, and yeah, it's a little short, but it was appealing. I liked it. It was good. I do agree with some of the comments though, where having just 2 options of things to say and kind of it doesn't really affect things. That might be an issue a bit in the storytelling. But again, the story wasn't the main point of the game. It is a looter shooter. It is not a Mass Effect. So the fact that we even have a story as compelling as it is fine by me. Yes,
and Scotty Mac said that in episode number 3 that there is a very separated community on this game. You have a looter shooter community, and then you have a we wanted Mass Effect type of community. Like, oh, Mass Effect died for this game and we didn't get the epic RPG experience that we wanted, right? So we understand already that there is very 2 sides of the coin when it comes to this game.
Yep, but it is what it meant to be, what it was meant to be.
Absolutely, I think it is.
Said that it was going to be. So, like I said, and the story's not bad. It's not like groan worthy like a lot of other games are. Honestly, the story's cool. It is cool. The characters are like Halleck and some of the. Again, you haven't done a lot of side quests, but there's some really funny dialogue.
I've done a few side quests. You know, like I've had mom get mad at me a few times. You know, she is so funny.
And the dude between the two gold doors there that Joe loves so much.
Yes, the guy from
always saying random stuff.
Oh, the TV show. I forget what TV show it was that everybody's going gaga for. That he does the voice acting. The voice acting in the game is fantastic too.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah. So the story's not bad. Like the story's not bad. There's lots of other side quests, and again, it's not even chapter 1, so it's gonna get better.
I just want to go back and see, is there any reviews on Metacritic that are okay? Here, hold on, this is gonna make a noise. Hold on, folks, sorry. So gaming trend gave it an 80. Benny Fix, I don't even know who that is, gives it a 10. These must be independent reviewers, give it a 10. A lot of 4s, a couple 1s, there's a 0, 60. Let's see what Gaming Trend. Gaming Trend gave it an 80%. What do they say? What's up, everybody? Yeah, Brooklyn 99. Yes, again, yes. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. Episode number 4, the Tarsis Tavern. Welcome, everybody. We're currently talking about Anthem reviews. Yeah, see, this guy here is really smart. We can argue whether pre-launch access is a good idea without the name early access attached to it, but there's no arguing that it's irresponsible to judge any product by the state it was in before it's final. And this was another problem, too, with a lot of the reviews. Some of these reviews came out before day 1 patch. People were reviewing this game before day 1 patch. And I think that in the current state of games, you can't do that. You have to wait until the game releases. Especially AAA drops a day 1 patch, which they all do, and then review after day 1 patch.
Well, plus they specifically said you guys are not playing the final build. You're playing a build that is a month old. Like, you know, so take it with a grain of salt. It was just to get your feet wet.
Yeah. Let's go to the end of this one here and see what he says. Anthem's rich storytelling. Oh, wow, somebody that liked the story. An engaging combat lays the foundation for BioWare's newest adventure. While there are plenty of quality of life improvements to be made, Anthem's ambitious approach to the looter shooter genre is encouraging given the development team's steadfast community engagement. With a roadmap stretching far into the horizon, we'll be flying around the world of Anthem for a long time to come. His pros: combat is rewarding and engaging, graphically gorgeous with an amazing soundtrack. Yes, which, if you have the Legion of Dawn edition, get the soundtrack. It's freaking amazing. Compelling storyline. Flexible world platform with extensive roadmap. Heavy developer engagement, which is one thing I think people are not understanding, is that BioWare is going to be completely engaged with this roadmap. He says cons. UX and UI improvements are needed, which we know. Frequent loading sequences. Mission complexity needs variety. And some bugs remain. Secure the Chat says, so I read many reviews and a lot of them were based on early. Yeah, that's what I just said. They were early access or not even after day 1 patch. And assumptions like facial features or soft story. Now, to be fair, the disconnect between story and missions isn't great, but there are some rather good story elements, especially later on. I agree. Risky Shot says, yeah, the complaints about the story make the least sense out of everything. It's actually good. Completely agree.
And that's why I said I don't think it's about the quality of the story. It's just about the amount.
The amount
seems to be why everybody's complaining about it, because you can finish it. Technically, if you just focused on the main quest line, you could finish it in a weekend, really. But
you could, yeah, and that's blasting through and hitting the escape button, skipping everything. I mean, anybody that says they got through main mission in 20, 30 hours, ask them how many times did they hit the escape button.
Well, that means you haven't talked to anybody else.
Exactly.
Story, right?
Exactly. Yeah. Secure says, Risky, the only issue is mission end and then 20 minutes of Tarsis before the next mission. Well, yeah, because that's how it's supposed to be played, right? You go out and do a mission, and you come back and you kind of assess what everybody thinks about the mission afterwards, and like what else has been going on in Tarsis before you go to the
And I
next
think
mission,
that's
right?
going to change too, though. Like once you've caught up on everybody's stories that they have. Like
Yeah.
right now, every time you go back, you got like 5 more people to talk to. But once you get everything caught up and you're in end game mode and you're doing strongholds and contracts and stuff like that, I don't think there's going to be a lot of, other side quest people to talk to. I mean, they'll add that in, but it's not going to be so much so that you need to stop and do a walk around every time.
Yeah, it's curious, and that's the YouTuber reviewer problems. They blasted through everything. To them, story is only cutscenes, and that is not the case, right? Right, because a YouTuber or a high-level streamer is not looking to talk about the story in the game. They want to do clickbait videos about like fastest way to gear or top level gear or that kind of stuff, right? Like you look at I love Datmods. He's a great streamer. I have watched him for years throughout his early Diablo days, Path of Exile. But his thing is that he's the guy that with the top tier loot that you go and see, top tier gameplay, and then he maps out how he got there. That's his thing. That is his main aspect of his content. And it means that, yeah, he is ignoring all other aspects of the game to get to that top tier level in terms of loot. I mean, his Storm, I think, is almost 500 gear level now. I don't think he's running anything that isn't legendary.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, he
does the same thing in Diablo, right? Just it's power level, rush, and then just gear.
Yeah, gear. Yeah, find like the chest map route and that kind of stuff, right? He was the one that was really pushing that and made that popular. I'm not the one if he's the one that discovered it, but he was the one that people were watching for that one that got nerfed for that chest run, and he was telling people this is the best way to loot. This is the way to get loot. He openly says on his stream that he runs 90% plus luck, right? So he's the type of player that is going for loot all the time.
Well, if that works, that is the point of the game, right? Yeah. So maybe we should start playing with more luck.
Maybe, yeah. I've been looking for stuff with luck on it. I mean, I definitely want to go and try and play that, that way a bit, but I don't want to make it like
a way to re-roll things like Diablo's Herodric Cube. I really do. I really want to be able to just like pick one affix, right? Because you always get like this wicked gun, and then it's like plus to pistols and plus to machine guns and plus to... It's like, no, I don't want plus to all these other guns. I want plus to you.
Yeah, that's true. You can re-roll. It's called crafting. Well, here's the problem with crafting now,
can you
and with
legendaries though, Joe? I don't think you can you?
No, it's called crafting. So you just craft something. You craft up a new weapon and hope for good affixes. The problem is with these loot changes, which is going to be our kind of next topic here, is with the so few masterwork drops. You need 25 masterwork embers to craft a new masterwork.
It's quite a bit. Holy.
25 embers for a masterwork,
and you're still completely random rolling that too, right? So
exactly, and you're not getting enough masterworks.
Heavy grind.
Yeah, you're not getting enough masterworks now dropped to get to 25, right? So maybe you might be able to craft like one masterwork or two masterworks a week, right? Past then, you're spending coins in the store.
Again, that's okay because grind game is grind game. But I would like a just like, because you get one that's like so close. It's like, oh man, that's like just dead on what I need, and then it's just like this one completely useless inscription. And if there was just a way that we could just tweak them a little bit.
Well, I saw a post on Twitter today that one of the development guys was saying, or replying to a complaint that many weapons have affixes not for the weapon.
Yep.
Like you'll get like a pistol that has shotgun and
plus to other guns. Yeah.
Right, and this is what I'm getting. This is what they're fixing. They're going to fix the affixes that affixes have more to do with their actual weapon type.
Yeah, that would be good.
Yeah, Secure says, I got my first legendary today, a shotgun. Did you get the pop-up pump? A Papa Pump? That's the one I want.
Papa Pump.
Oh man, my first legendary would be Papa Pump. I'd be so happy. I've been playing with an assault rifle and the Avenged Herald. No? Oh, Papa Pump is so good though. So good. Constrictor shotgun? Nice. My main jam during the demo was Frost Grenade shotgun. Was Ponder Infinity. Nice, awesome. Perfect. All right. Yeah. Well, I mean, I think the initial reviews, some of them are spot on. I think some of them are sensationalized. And we've already talked about the fucking YouTubers last week. So let's get on to our last discussion topic here, which is one I think that's going to take a lot of time for us because it is the one that is near and dear to our hearts in a game like this, and that is loot. So it was confirmed by Ben Irving, who is one of the lead developers, that there were changes done to loot. So in this Reddit post, it is titled, "For those saying BioWare hasn't acknowledged this stealth loot nerf, here you go." Ben says, "Hey, update on what happened here. In our Friday changes, one of the edits we made had the side effect of increasing certain drop chances. This was not intended. Once we identified the problem, we changed it back to how it was before. That was about 11 hours later. Took a little time for that message to make it around internally and to make sure we understood what happened and how to avoid it going forward. It's never our intent to make changes without being transparent. So we wanted to come in here to respond and clarify. Ben, note, we did not intentionally change the drop rates of rare items in certain chests per the patch notes we posted." So this is interesting, and I also think this is, again, some growing pains from a company that is not traditionally done looter shooters. And
yeah, they're just trying really hard to get it right.
But the problem is the first comment on this, and it's very interesting. It says, "I'm sorry, but killing Titans on Grandmaster 1 and then this loot is not fun." Take a look at this.
What was the loot? Green.
A common, a white and a green. A common and an uncommon. And I completely agree. When we were going around and killing these Titans today for this free play mission, we were on Grandmaster 1, and we were getting commons and uncommons and a lot of epics. I definitely feel maybe they scaled.
And I mean, at the very least,
they scaled it back too much.
It's not going to drop Masterwork. At least it should drop like a Masterwork shard, right?
That's what I was getting a lot of today in the chests. It wouldn't drop a Masterwork item, but it would drop a Masterwork Ember.
Yeah. Sorry, I called it shard, but yeah, basically crafting components to do that same level. Like that should kind of be default. So no matter what, you get at least something orange to be excited about, right?
I think so, especially in the Grandmaster difficulties, right? And now this change too has also made it that there is no percentage increase on Masterworks going up from GM1, GM2 to GM3, which I think again is a problem.
Yeah, so then what's the point?
Exactly, what's the point? Everybody's just going to stay in GM1 and farm the hell out of GM1.
Well, yeah, like look what's happening with gearing now. Everybody just does the strongholds on easy because what's the point in doing it on hard?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so they definitely need to address that for sure.
Yeah. The other thing that needs to be addressed too, I think, and kind of off topic here, is the difficult level of the different strongholds. I mean, I think it's common knowledge that, you know, if you want to kind of speed run through some strongholds and get some good gear, that Tyrant Mine is the one that you do. You don't touch the other ones. You don't touch the Scar one or the other one.
Why is that? Because I mean, I've done
difficulty.
I've done the two of them, but
have you done the Scar
one.
The Scar Mine? Have you done it on GM1?
No.
Okay, so GM1 Scar Mine, the last tank, four-legged tank boss, is a son of a bitch. Plus, then you have the legendary Scars spawning all around you, it is difficult. You can spend 20 to 30 minutes just on that boss alone, and you can get through the Tyrant Mine almost completely in that time alone.
Right.
If your group's good. So there's a little bit of a problem there too. So I think it's good that they acknowledge this. I don't know if I think maybe they turned the dial back too much. You know, do you agree with that?
Well, I'd say, like I said, I want to see at least orange, especially like I don't know any major chests. Like so, like let's say you're doing the strongholds.
Yeah.
There's like mini bosses, right? There's always mini bosses. Mm-hmm. So every time you get a mini boss, you get a chest. There should be something to get excited about in all of the chests.
Especially
whether it's just crafting mats or I don't know, just whatever. As long as there's something to get excited about.
Especially in Grandmaster difficulties. If you're to the point where you're in Grandmaster difficulties, there needs to be something to get excited about. I would say 85 to 90% of the time.
Yep, agreed. And then as you go up in difficulty, there should be more and more. If you're doing GM3, well, first of all, you're insane.
Yeah.
And if you are insane and able to do those, then yeah, you should be rewarded for it. Absolutely.
Absolutely. So, as I kind of teased here before, one person that has given their thoughts on this is Travis Day. And if you remember Mr. Travis Day is the guy that many people are in agreement single-handedly saved Diablo 3 with the Reaper of Souls expansion. Him coming in and putting in many of the new systems, the loot, and a lot of the things that turned Diablo 3 around with the Reaper of Souls expansion is because of this guy here. And he has made a post on Reddit which has a surprisingly low amount of comments for a guy that has been in the gaming industry for so long and is so respected. And Mr. Scotty Mac agreed with me here too. Scotty Mac is the one that actually sent me this, and I looked through this, and the first thing I said to him was, "Does nobody remember who the fuck this guy is?"
Yeah, no,
this guy
around too.
Yeah, and he also did World of Warcraft. Like this guy was a staple for a long time at Blizzard Entertainment.
Quite a difference. Definitely made quite a difference.
Mm-hmm.
Super impactful. So what did he say about it?
He said, "I've been playing Anthem for the last week and really enjoying myself. However, the game seems to fall into a number of reward system-related traps."
I see the very first kind of highlighted thing, dead inscriptions.
Yeah. I wanted to take a moment to point out and offer some possible solutions to an effort to help make this game, which I'm enjoying, more compelling. Yes, and he actually talks about some of the things that we've mentioned here. So, dead inscriptions. By now, I suspect many people have seen item rolls with stats that they don't really understand. Too long didn't read. Man icon means it affects everything you do. Cog icon means it only affects the item that it's rolled on. Currently, the game allows for items to roll inscriptions that literally cannot affect the item they are on. Right. Yeah. So, he says, having items roll affixes that are suboptimal is standard practice for this kind of game, but I think there should be a hard distinction between bad and literally doesn't work. So this is the problem we have with the inscriptions, right? Is that there are affixes that literally do not work on certain weapons.
Yeah, and I'm just like snap salvage because it's like, what's the point of having affixes if they don't do anything?
Exactly. Considerable amount of confusion for players learning the game. Yep, I agree. I mean, we have some new players in the Savage Squad Discord, which you can join in the open link below in my channel panels. That come to us who've been playing the game for a while and say, well, how do I do this? How do I do that? Right? Specifically with the Legionnaire's quest, where there's very, very little explanation on a number of things.
Speaking, okay, so sorry to now that you brought that up. That reminds me of another thing that they improved, that opening those chests for the Legionnaire's quest.
Yes, bigger
is
radius.
Now done for your group. No, it's for your group now.
Oh, it's for your group? Perfect.
Yes, so if you open it, I would get that as one of my 15 to open it up. So anybody that's having a hard time with that quest and opening 15 chests,
yeah,
it's a lot better now than it was before.
Yeah, I think anything goes on here. Masterwork could roll 2 to 4 or 3 to 4 properties on creation, so that there is still the same amount of item variance, but the affixes that show up continue to still work on whatever they've rolled on. So completely agree. And they've already acknowledged that they are going to make affixes more relevant to the item or the weapon or, whatever they're on. Rolling to number 2 here, again, something that we've already talked about today. Risk, actually, I just mentioned it, risk versus reward. This is a pretty common pitfall that a lot of games run into, the games I've worked on included. It always going to be subject to some amount of individual perception, but what is easy versus what is hard. So again, he goes into the relative tuning of the final boss encounters. So the Tyrant, Temple of Scar, Heart of Rage, in terms of overall difficulty. And this is what I was talking about, is that there is a consensus that the Tyrant Mine is the, air quotes, easiest stronghold to run and get through.
Yep. Yeah, but you know what? Diablo did the same thing. We used to do speed runs back in the day too.
Absolutely, yes, of like certain levels, certain areas of certain levels, yes, absolutely. There's always going to be something. Yep. There doesn't seem to be any reward incentive to justify the scaling between the 3 dungeons. So he's going on about, he said that there you go. He says, the first time I went into fight the Heart of Rage boss, it took 30 minutes for my group to defeat the end boss, relative to the time it takes to kill the Tyrant. And everybody's already figured this out. Heart of Rage, Temple of Scar. If you want to go through and you want to have a night where you do 10 to 12 freaking stronghold runs, you do Tyrant Mines. There are a number of potential solutions on that front, whether it's bringing the dungeons into the same relative difficulty scale or increasing the rewards to match the difficulty. Either direction is reasonable depending on the design goals, but at present it's considerably mismatched in both directions.
Just have like more dope stuff show up in the big one, right? Like things that or maybe like there's an extra affix on Masterworks that drop in that. Like there's lots of ways you can do it.
Or just 2 chests instead of 1.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, that might be okay, just having more loot, but I would rather see it be like, like most MMOs, is that when you do that, well, that raid is where you can get the this and the that. Like you get this separate, if I do Tyrant Mine, I get this kind of gear, but if I do the Heart of Rage, I'm getting like this even better gear.
Which
I know they've set it up to be completely random so that you can get anything from anything.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
Well, I think legendary contracts, if I read something correctly, that legendary contracts, certain ones you can get weapons and certain ones you can get components. So there is a little bit of that. And I wonder if that mastery, if you go back into the roadmap, I wonder if the mastery system has something maybe to do with that too.
See, cause it'd be cool if they set it up like a WoW or like I said, another MMO where, okay, you go in and you do Tyrant Mines, and you get your Tyrant Mines gear, and it's like level 1. Okay, awesome, it's dope. You need to be fully kitted out in Tyrant Mines gear to be able to go up and do the Scar one, right? And then to be able to hang with the big boys in Heart of Rage, you need to have all your Scar gear to be able to get there, to get that loot. You know what I mean? So it's like,
that'd be interesting.
So it's tiered.
Yeah. Well, that's what I think they tried to do with GM1, GM2, GM3, but the problem is that they just didn't.
Yeah, but then they failed at just putting any gear into it.
Right. They didn't do the loot correctly, which kind of sucks.
The thing that I'm getting at though is that the same loot that you can get in Heart of Rage, which takes you an hour, you can get that exact same loot in Tyrant Mine, which takes you 25 minutes. So again, there is zero incentive.
To do.
Literally just said zero incentive. Play GM2-3. It's the same thing. Same thing. GM2-3, zero incentive to do Heart of Rage other than like the first time to see it. So they need to have it tiered in such a way that you need to get something to get into that. I don't know, just some kind of other difficulty level. But it is early.
Yeah,
so,
Joda said.
Iron this out.
Yeah, Joda says, and I know the game is super early, but give us something like Diablo Primals with a crazy hard drop rate. Need those carrots on sticks. Yes, I agree. Yeah, there is currently no carrot on the stick to move up into GM2 and GM3.
That's and again, let's put those primals only on GM3. so that you have to get dope enough to get there.
Yep, I agree.
Right.
Yep. 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 So the next one here is player agency slash targeted farming. I like the recent change to help distinguish the different activities from each other. Strongholds always drop a masterwork skill. Legendary contracts always drop a masterwork class mod. So that's what I was just talking about. Strongholds and then legendary contracts. Giving players a degree of agency over their RNG is great. In this kind of game, players will always set goals. I want item X. I want to make build Y. Now, again, too, you can have certain items drop in GM2 and GM3, and unless you complete them, you cannot do build Y. That's another idea, too.
Yep,
one thing I really loved, one thing I really loved about Diablo, and they got away from it, was seasonal only items. I never understood why Diablo got away from that. I thought it was fantastic, and it really made playing a season so much more interesting, because you could play a specific build that somebody that wasn't playing a season wouldn't be able to.
Yeah, and you'd want to play that season, so like every time there was an update, people would flock back to it.
Exactly. And you can put that item into the loot pool after the season, but you have a group of people that did that season, got to try it first because they incentivized playing that season for that particular item, that particular build. And I would love to see that in this game as well.
Also going to be doing, or they did say this, right? They're going to be putting in vanity items into the loot pool for certain things. Is that true?
I cannot confirm that. I don't know. And Jodat says legendary.
That would be so worth it. I think that would be dope. Okay, if you're in GM3, you can get this skin or this vinyl or this pattern or metal type.
That's what they seem to be doing with the Freebill events, right? When you finish There Be Giants, you get a vinyl.
Perfect. So enter that into the loot pool. Make that GM3 only, or make that Heart of Rage only. Like it's a Heart of Rage, I don't know, color skin thing like that. You have to do that for, and then people will go and grind Heart of Rage, right?
Or like a certain metal type or something like that. Yeah, for sure.
Do some kind of vanity thing that is only Heart of Rage, so that you have to do it, and people will do that and not just run Tyrant Mines. So again, you have to like, I don't know, just there need to be certain things you can get in certain ones, or else people are just going to find the easy one and grind it.
Yeah. Joda in the chat says legendary contracts should drop legendaries. Just make them masterwork contracts, and every time you would get a masterwork contract, you have a chance to get a legendary one. That's a cool idea too.
Mm-hmm.
That's a cool one too. I like that. Okay, yeah, and it's amazing. Like Travis is like reading our fucking minds here. He says, personally, I like the idea of leading into different activities, guaranteeing me different item slots. The only real problem here is that I can't make that choice every time I enter a queue. Skills are covered by dungeons. Components have limited coverage based on players' inability to chain queue them, and weapons have no activity directly offering them. Okay. He also says if the intent is to give players agency over their activity, they need to be able to actually commit to that choice. At present, if my goal is to get better class mods, I have a very limited degree of control, after which I'm, unfortunately, incentivized back into dungeon farming. One large problem there is that masterwork skills have tremendously different value depending on how I'm trying to approach the game. If I want to be a Storm who has incredibly well-rolled skills and shoots guns as filler, or buffs, looking at you, Elemental Rage, then this is great. But if I'm a Colossus who uses my skills for their utility and focuses primarily on damage output of my gun, then farming dungeons isn't reasonably moving me closer towards my desired goal.
Well, I mean it is, because even if you're not relying on those skills, you still want them better. You always
That's
want
true.
Them. Anyway, I get what he's saying.
That's true. And then the last one here is a lack of granularity and difficulty, which I think we've already talked about here. Given the structure of loot in this game, the relative power level of any two players doing the same content at endgame can be enormous. Players' goal is to find better items and continue advancing through the content challenges. As it stands, the difficulty jump between GM1 and GM2 is big enough that once you reach the point where GM1 feels trivial and attempt to enter GM2, you find enemies feeling like bullet sponges who one-shot the frailer classes in the party. I love a good challenge, but going from this is trivial to this is hard and definitely not worth the time and energy causes players to continue farming content that is easy, aka Tyrant Mine, without ever feeling they should put themselves in a position where they are reasonably challenged.
Very easily fixed, though. This is very easily fixed.
I agree, it is.
When you look at you hover over a GM1, a GM2, a GM3, all it says is, okay, we've increased this 50%. We've increased their health pools 150%.
Yeah.
All they have to do is tweak these numbers. They tweak the numbers, get it in line with what they want, and they're good. So again, this is one of those things that will be found out to be fixed probably in a month's time. Yeah. Like I can almost guarantee it, that they'll have that massaged.
Hopefully, yeah. He says, tuning content for a power band as high as these types of games allow is difficult, and it's important that the risk versus reward not push players into thinking the correct thing to do is fight impossibly hard content because they are over rewarded. Either tuning for GM2, GM3 needs revision, or new intermediate difficulties should exist.
Yeah, so just tune them for now, and then and then you can add in 4 and 5 later. Right, so just take his 1, 2, 3 the way it is now, and you're almost essentially just adding 2 and, well, you know what I mean, like you take 3 and you just turn it into 5, or you just take 3 and scale it down for now until people are awesome enough, and then you add 4. It's like torrents in Diablo, right?
Yes, yeah.
So yeah, let's just add torrent 8, 9, 10, 11. Let's just keep going as
the torment levels. Yeah, and that's what they did in Diablo, and I think it worked out very well because, like, if you remember, like, T10 was your farming for a while, and then when they moved it up to 13, you know, you could farm Torment 13, right? And there were speedruns specifically for Torment 13, and I that's what I would love to see with this game too. Is that, like, let's say GM2 is your median, right? So a bunch of builds come out for, you know, speed farming GM2. I think it's a great direction. You know, it's amazing that Diablo has you know, kind of been dethroned, but we're talking about so many things that it did right, you know, that could be applied to this game as well. Yep. And again, very surprised that people are not jumping all over this post in particular based on who it is, but I mean, I guess.
Where did he post it? Did he post it somewhere?
He posted it on the official Anthem Reddit, which, and now this was 2 days ago, and it might be already buried by everybody else's posts, but you know, maybe people just forget, you know, people just love, you know, to forget in this day and age, you know, contributions of others, but
yeah, but also most gamers probably don't know the name.
That's true as well, yeah. Yeah, it's only hardcore guys like us.
Yep.
Who really know. Yeah. All right, Mr. Kyrian. Is there anything else that you want to touch on?
No, I want to get playing.
You want to get playing? Get playing. All right, y'all. Well, we'll end it.
Actually, is there any questions that these guys have in here?
Yeah. Before we go into open Q&A, anybody watching, is there anything that you want to discuss or you want us to touch on before we move into the open Q&A and gameplay part of the cast here? Throw it out in the chat.
Yeah, we can start queuing up, and
absolutely.
If anybody says anything, we can chat.